For definition part, Islamic banking has the same purpose as conventional banking, but Islamic banking operate based on Sharia principle, namely fiqh al-mu'amalat, which all transactions must comply with Sharia principle. The principle of Islamic banking are based on profit and loss sharing and are also free from the elements of riba. Among the Islamic concepts used in Islamic banking are such as mudarabah, wadiyah, musyarakah, murabaha and ijarah. In Malaysia, there is also an Islamic banking institution, namely Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad is an Islamic bank based in Malaysia and is the first Islamic banking institution in Malaysia. Bank Islam conduct business in accordance with Islamic principle to provide banking facilities and services to Malaysians. To meet the financial needs of the Malaysian community in general, Bank Islam offers more than 70 Sharia compliant banking products and services to meet the needs of Muslim and non-Muslim. Bank Islam also responsible for laying the foundation for the extraordinary growth of the Islamic economy in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ATIQAH binti IBRAHIM. My matric number is 059T17. In this part, I will present about dalil from Al-Qur'an and Hadith that relate to loan. The first dalil is from Al-Hadid, verse number 11. Who is that will lend to Allah a good loan, which Allah will multiply many times over for them, and they will have an honorable reward? Explaining to this verse is to encourage people to love giving alms. God hath decreed that whoever lends to God with a good loan in the form of charity or alms to others, then God will return it in a multiplied amount for him, and besides, for him will be given a glorious reward from God. Second hadith is from Takhabun, verse number 17. If you lend to Allah a good loan, He will multiply it for you and forgive you. For Allah is most appreciative, most forbearing. Explanation for this verse is, if you lend to Allah a good loan, as if you give alms with a sincere heart, surely Allah multiplies it to you. His retribution is multiplied from 10 times to 700 times, and even more than that, and forgive you what He wills. Imam Nawawi in Al-Minhaj explained that this hadith is the basic for prohibition of direct involvement in usury transaction because it is considered as helping each other in matter of falsehood. That's all from me, thank you.
Next, there are three types of personal loans that are provided by Bank Islam, which are personal financing I package, personal financing I non-package, and personal financing for professional program. Firstly, personal financing I package is an unsecured Islamic personal loan that is 100% Sharia compliant. Personal financing I package is offered to those serving in the public sector and private employees from selected companies. Among the advantages of this scheme is that the amount of financing offered is from 10,000 ringgit Malaysia to 300,000 ringgit Malaysia with a maximum financing period of up to 10 years. The profit rate charged is also very reasonable, which is 4.99% per annum. Next, personal financing I non-package is offered to Malaysian citizens who serve in the public sector and private sector. Among the advantages of this scheme is that the amount of financing offered is from 10,000 ringgit Malaysia to 150,000 ringgit Malaysia with a maximum financing period of up to 10 years. Despite the relatively high minimum wage eligibility charge, Bank Islam non-package personal financing I is among the unsecured personal financing that offer very low annual profit rate sharing charge starting from as low as 5.5% per annum. Last but not least, personal financing for professional program. This type of personal financing scheme is offered specifically to professionals in Malaysia. To be eligible to apply, the applicant must be a Malaysian citizen and hold positions such as doctor and accountant. Bank Islam allows financing application from RM10,000 Malaysia to RM300,000 Malaysia. The financing period is from 1 to 10 years with annual profit sharing starting from as low as 4.52% per annum. This scheme is targeted at selected professionals in Malaysia. It's very suitable for those who want to start a business or want to use the money for personal use.
Assalamualaikum, my name is SYAFIQAH binti AZWAN with matric number 059228. So, in Bank Islam Berhad, there are three types of personal loans, which are personal financing I package, personal financing I non-package, and personal financing for professional programs. For each types of personal loans, there are several terms and conditions that are applied when applying for a loan. For personal financing I package, the applicant must have a professional employment in the chosen field. The applicant must be a Malaysian citizen and have a minimum fixed income of RM2,000 per month. Applicant must be a continued employee in any type of companies as categorized under package company listed by Bank Islam. Okay, next, for the personal financing I non-package, the applicant must be 18 years and not exceeding the retirement age at the end of the payment periods. The applicant must be a Malaysian citizen and have a minimum fixed income of RM4,000 per month. And last, applicant must be a continuous employee within the public listed company. And the last, personal financing for professional programs. The applicant must be above 25 years old and not exceeding the retirement age at the end of the payment periods. The applicant must be a Malaysian citizen and working as a professional. And the minimum basic pay for the non-package applicant must be RM4,000, while the minimum basic salary for the engineers and the accountants applicant must be RM5,000 Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Alif AKMAL bin IBRAHIM. My method number is 059126. And now I will present the structure of card. One type of card is card Al-Hasan, is an arms or easy loan without compensation. This type of card is a loan commonly charged by Islamic financial institutions. Borrower will be asked to repay the amount borrowed only without any element of interest or usually compared to the conventional system. Based on the flow structure of this process, there are three important components, namely MOHD, which is creditor, MOHD, debtor, and money. In this contract, the debtor will borrow money from the bank, which is the creditor. Before this process occurs, both parties will enter into an agreement whereby the money borrowed must be paid in the same amount. At this point, the terms and conditions of the card contract are agreed upon by both parties. After that, the creditor will hand over the loan money to the debtor, and within a certain period, the debtor will have to repay the same amount. Next, in Islamic banks, various card methods have been practiced, including card-based deposit. In this process, I will describe the card deposit process implemented by Bank Islam. In this occurrence, the bank will act as the debtor, while the debtor will act as the creditor. This means that when customers keep their money in the bank, the money will be lent to the bank. This is stated in the preliminary agreement between the depositor and the bank. In the flow of this contract process, in the first stage, the customer will deposit his money into the bank under the loan contract, which is the card. Bank Islam will act as the lender and guarantee that the depositor can withdraw the money deposited by the customer at any time. In the second stage, the bank, namely Bank Islam, will use the customer's fund or savings for business purposes by the bank. The business conducted by the bank must be Sharia compliant. In the third stage, when the bank's business activities make a profit, the profit will be channeled back to the bank. And then in the fourth stage, the bank will give a gift or grant hibah to the depositor upon to depositor's willingness to lend money to the bank. There are some differences between conventional and Islamic banks in the context of deposit account based on card. Among them, in conventional bank, it acts as a sell element and the bank can give gift to customers. It is also possible to provide advantages for unique customers. While in Islamic bank are less at the bank discretion and not a card or loan requirement, giving the advantage of the contract to the customer is prohibited because doing so will amount to riba or interest. This includes non-cash benefits such as cash in transit service for customer which last deposit or takaful coverage for depositor. Next, in a conventional bank, the imposition of any fees or charge for service related to the loan or card is permissible. While in Islamic banking, only the actual cost spent by the bank to provide any service connected to the card are subject to fees and levies. Lastly, a conventional bank offers consumer an interest rate that has been predetermined. While Islamic bank give consumers a gift at the bank discretion.
For the issue is impact of new moratorium likely less severe than last year, says Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. This is mainly because unlike last year, 6-month moratorium which was offered to individual and small and medium enterprise on a blanket basis. The latest form of assistance to borrowers is on an opt-in basis. This means that borrowers need to apply for it. Nevertheless, its eligibility is made a lot easier than the Target Repayment Assistance (TRA) that banks introduced last October 2020. Hence, there are higher applications for it than the TRA. So, this form of new assistance comes in somewhere in between in terms of severity of impact to the bank. What the bank finds is that many people who are not affected by the COVID-19 pandemic choose not to apply, says Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad CEO Muhammad Muazzam Mohamad. Application for the new form of assistance began pouring in from July 7, 2020. Bank Islam is one of the first lenders to make public the number of applications it has approved. Calling it the Pemulih Repayment Assistance (PRA), Islam allows eligible customers to choose either a 6-month moratorium on monthly payment or 15% reduction in installments for 6 months. Based on total applications approved, 97% opted for the moratorium, while the remaining 3% opted for the 15% installment reduction. Currently, the majority of the applications come for individuals.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faiz bin KAMARUDDIN. Today I will talk about development of Bank Islam. In early stage, Islamic banking in Malaysia provided basic banking service and products such as taking deposit and giving loans with free from riba element, which is forbidden in Islam. As the industry grows, the product offered varies to meet the demand from both individuals and companies users. Currently, Malaysia Islamic banking has widened the service and product by venturing into Islamic insurance with its takaful, Islamic pawnbroking, and taking underwrite activity for sukuk. In broader term, Islamic financial market has become more dynamic in offering service and products such as Islamic securities, Islamic unit trust funds, stock broking, and financial product, which is comply with the Islamic guideline. The Islamic banking development in Malaysia was enacted by the commitment of the Malaysia government with the introduction of the Islamic Banking Act 1983 and the Government Investment Act 1983. Hence, the first Islamic bank established was the Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. For calculation, Islamic bank have begun offering debt repayment in accordance with Sharia principle. As a result of their widespread availability, Muslims prefer to obtain loans despite their fear that conventional banks will provide riba and gharar, which make it more difficult for them to purchase goods. We can see that Islamic banks aim higher to a principle that serve as a guide for Muslims who have a required behavior or evaluation of individual borrowers. This is something that all Muslims must perform. Bank Islam collaborate with financial institutions to generate debt via deferred sale and lease contract. As I mentioned in Al-Qard and Hadith, the law ICA in purchase item, they cannot inform. So it's much suitable for them to have a loan with the Bank Islam.